Think about the last time you blamed your protein powder for not helping. That probably was not the problem. You keep buying tubs and still look the same because the real mistake is somewhere else in your day. Protein powder works when it tops up a full day of decent eating. It does not work when you expect it to carry the whole plan. By the end, you will know how much protein to aim for across the day, how much each meal should roughly contain, and where powder actually belongs. First comes the whole day target, then the week meal problem, then the rule that tells you where powder belongs. The first mistake is the myth itself. You take protein powder, you train, you do not grow much, so you assume the powder is useless or worse than real food. That sounds sensible. It is also the wrong conclusion. What matters is how much protein you get across the day and whether each meal has enough to help. The source matters a lot less than people think. When the protein amount matches, shakes and whole foods build muscle equally well. So reframe it. The tub is just convenient food, not magic, not rubbish, just a fast way to get protein in when a meal comes up short. If you keep blaming the powder, you never fix the day around it, and you stay stuck buying supplements instead of eating in a way that actually supports growth. Which one sounds more like you right now? The one giant shake person or the low protein meals all day person? Now the first real number. Your daily total decides whether any of this has a chance to work. A lot of people have one decent shake after training, then the rest of the day is a mess. Breakfast is light, lunch is random, dinner is fine if they get lucky. That feels better than doing nothing, but the full day still comes up short. Your body needs enough total protein across the whole day to keep muscle gain moving. If that total is low, the rest of the plan never really starts. Muscle gain levels off around 1.6 grams per kilo per day. That is the benchmark to build around. So set your daily target first, about 1.6 grams per kilo of body weight. Then check what your normal day actually gives you before you judge the shake. Protein powder is not failing if your full day never got enough protein in the first place. That is the difference between planning your food and hoping a tub will sort it out. One works, one does not. And even if you hit that daily total, there is still a very common way to waste it. This is the big one. You see it all the time. A 40 or 50 gram shake after training, then a breakfast with barely any protein, and a dinner that somehow became toast, cereal, or whatever was easiest. Very human, very common. Still a bad setup for growth. Each meal needs enough protein to properly switch muscle building on. Meals that are too small don't get rescued later by one oversized shake. One big shake doesn't make up for meals that only have 10 to 15 grams. That's why the huge post-workout shake gets too much credit. It looks serious, it feels productive, but 3 weak meals can do most of the damage. The fix is simple. Aim for roughly 20 to 40 grams of high-quality protein per meal, or about 0.25 to 0.30 grams per kilo. If a meal is light, powder earns its place. Add enough to bring that meal into range. That's where most people get this wrong. They think the shake is the plan.
It is not. The meal is the plan. The powder just helps when the meal falls short. If this finally explained why one huge shake was never fixing your day, leave a comment with the meal that usually lets you down first. For most people, it is breakfast. Breakfast has a talent for looking fine while doing almost nothing. There is one more reason people get stuck, and this habit keeps the whole myth going. Most people use powder reactively. They forget to eat, then grab a shake, or they treat the post-workout shake like an automatic answer every day, whether the rest of the plan makes sense or not. That is backwards. Powder works best as a gap filler inside a meal plan. Meals come first, then powder fills what's missing. Write down your planned meals first, just the meals you're actually going to eat. Then note the protein in each one. Now the weak spots become obvious. Maybe breakfast only has 12 grams, maybe lunch has 18. Those are the places where powder helps, not because powder is special, but because the meal was short. This also stops a very common problem. The shake starts replacing food too often. That usually means worse fullness, less variety, and a diet that gets a bit thin. A shake is useful. It's not much of a meal. There's also no law saying protein has to land right after training. Nighttime protein works well too, so the shake does not need to live in the post-workout slot. If the full day is solid, that shake can go wherever it solves an actual problem. And this matters even more if you train hard but eat lightly by habit. Plenty of people do. They're consistent in the gym, then strangely casual with food. Not on purpose, just because busy days make small meals feel normal. Then, the shake becomes a patch on top of a day that never had enough structure. If you're over 40, raise the bar a bit. Think more like 35 to 40 grams per meal, not 20 to 25. The muscle still responds, it just needs a stronger signal. At this point, the rule is pretty simple. Hit the daily total first. Spread it across meals that are big enough to count. Then use powder where food leaves a gap. That's also why the boring meal matters so much. The meal you keep underbuilding every day does more damage than the internet stuff you worry about. The shake was not the issue, it just hid the fact that your meals were poorly planned. If this cleared things up so far, hit like. It helps more people see the difference between a useful supplement and a bad meal plan with a scoop added to it. Over the next few weeks, stop guessing. Hit the daily target consistently. Spread that protein better so more meals clear the mark. Then improve one week meal without using powder by default. Keep the shake for convenience gaps. That's when the tub starts doing something useful. It stops being a random habit and starts filling a specific gap in your meals. And that's the whole point. Protein powder is not the problem. The real fix is simple. Hit your daily protein target first, make sure your meals aren't too small, and use powder only to fill the gaps instead of hoping one shake will do the whole job. Keep the tub if it helps, but stop asking it to do a whole diet's job. Build the day first, then let protein powder do the small, useful job it was always meant to do. If you want more of these simple breakdowns, subscribe. You'll save yourself a lot of wasted effort and probably a few wasted tubs too.